If you're looking for a show that has formal interviews with few things you can relate to, then this show isn't for you. This is the On the Air podcast starring you, the OTAP show. What does OTAP stand for? Well, we kind of just told you. These are informal interviews with people from all walks of life, talking about experiences you can relate to. Share in all of the laughs with real stories from real people. Find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Android users can listen on the free Podcast Republic app. Now, get ready for this week's episode. Here's the OTAP show with your host, Corey.
What up, everybody? It's your boy Smooth Over, aka Real Ghost Fight.
Hey, this is Nikita, aka Jakari Star.
Yo, what's good? This is your boy Bob.
This is Kaya, aka Black Honey.
Hey folks, this is Corey, the host for Metal for Brains.
Hey girl, she's so pretty.
This is Greg, the infamous New Age Ike Turner.
Kicking it with the homie Corey, aka The Real Shitty. Now you're listening to On the Air Podcast.
And you're listening to the On the Air Podcast.
The On the Air Podcast.
The On the Air Podcast.
Starring you.
Starring you.
Starring you.
All right, good people, we're back with another episode of the OTAP show. This week, we sitting with Venny, finally able to get this show done. What's going on?
Good. Everything's pretty okay. I'm glad I finally get to be on your show. I'm honored, actually, because I've heard that it's tons of fun. I've heard a few of your podcasts. They're really great.
I'm glad you were able to do it because, we've been trying to get this set up for a while and just, one thing or another would happen and we couldn't. So I was like, I really, really want her to do the show because there's a couple things that a couple conversations I can only have with you. So kind of just been waiting and I had this awesome show and I was like, when are we going to do it? When are we going to do it? So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm here and it's great.
Okay. Cool. Last year, I believe it was sometime, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think last year sometime around May, you moved from New York to Connecticut?
Oh, yes, correct. I moved.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought you were giving me another question. Yeah, so I made the big move from New York to Connecticut, which was, it was really out of my comfort zone. I'm a huge nature fan and animal fan. I love the quiet, but, so I kind of left New York to leave that hustle and bustle life, Mm-hmm. Like when you think about New York, you think beeping taxis, yelling people pushing past you, all that kind of stuff. We're known for being very loud and a little obnoxious. Yeah, so I moved to Connecticut. It was also to be closer to my grandmother because she has dementia, and I'm one of the youngest in my family, so it was kind of like in Any, Mini, Mighty Mo, who's got the least to lose? As sad as that sounds, it's like, who's got the least to lose so they can help take care of grandma? And it was kind of like me. So, so basically I kind of packed up and I moved to New Haven. Yeah.
So how are you enjoying it so far?
It's okay. I mean, the nature seems pretty cool. I met a few friends, and this here is something that I wanna kind of discuss.
Okay.
We all know me as Darth Venny, the quote unquote infamous Darth Venny, and I like to think of myself as a Bane perspective, where often I have been mean, but for the right reason. People might be listening right now and they hear this and they're like, "Oh, that bitch! She's a liar." Oh, can we curse on here? Can we curse on here?
Oh yeah, it's cool. You can say every word in the book.
But but yeah, I've always seen myself as a Bane where I've said some mean things to some people, but it was to people who I felt deserved or that were just not good people. And so I kind of when I moved here, there were a few people who wanted to reach out to me and talk to me because I mean, you know, everyone's seen me going through it, you know, depression and stuff like that. So I had a few people reach out to me and, you know, like, oh, let's hang out, let's go to the beach, let's positive vibes and, you know, all the bullshit people spew to you when they wanna be involved with you in any way. I found out that one of them was, supposedly, not supposedly because I have the picture. I posted it on Twitter, I believe yesterday. But basically, people were hanging out with me to take pictures of me behind my back to show the timeline just in case.
Come on, man.
Yeah, in the words of Drake, they were looking for revenge, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it was a lot of fakeness, you know, like taking pictures of me randomly eating and things of that sort, taking pictures of me like looking the other way so they could get, maybe some fat on the side or something. I mean, we all know I'm a hefty girl, so it's no surprise, but I guess, some people want other people to know the extent. So that was a very bad experience here so far.
Does that sort of thing, like, just in general, does that sort of thing I imagine it's discouraging on a lot of levels, but does that sort of thing keep you from wanting to meet people? Like, what sort of mental space does that put you in? Because I'm sorry that happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Thank you. It does. It puts you in a very weird mental space because when you have someone with severe anxiety, social anxiety, and depression and self-image issues, which I can admit that I do have, it puts you in a very awkward situation because when you have anxiety and you have self-image issues, it's like it's a gasoline and a fire kind of thing where like one lights up the other. Like I can be in a room and be anxious and then someone can be staring at me and immediately I'm like, oh my God, like what's wrong with me? Like, is something going on? Like, do I look crazy? Like, are they going to take a picture of me? Like, are they going to like Vine me? So like, it makes it very uncomfortable. So it makes you not want to go out because you feel like it's not worth the stress, like
right.
Is me going to a party and, paying like $20 for a cheap drink and listening to Migos really worth, the anxiety, So it does. It definitely affects. It definitely affects where I go, how I move, which is kind of sad, but it's something that I'm trying to work on as an individual. So yeah, it definitely does.
In things like that, I tell people, right? So you, excuse me. So you never know what a person has or what they're going through internally, because I describe it to them like this: when you do certain things to certain people, like it sets things ablaze. So if you're with somebody in a house and they're telling you that they're hot, you're not going to go and set the house on fire. And that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so do you, in my experience, and not personal, but just kind of just with people that I know, people that have these sort of things going on, the thing that helps them the most that I found is them having a great support system. Do you have that? Has that support system been able to move with you from New York to Connecticut? Where are you with that?
Well, first, I definitely agree with you. That's definitely a top 5 thing when dealing with any sort of mental illness is a support system, because it's a lot of people with mental illness I know like to be alone, but they don't want to be alone. It sounds a little confusing, but it's not. It's kind of like Like, I don't know if you know Fat Stacks on Twitter.
Yeah.
Ashley. Yeah, that's my real life best friend. Like, you know, she would come over and we would just like lay in my bed and like tweet, but we'd still be next to each other. And to me, that support system, you know, like we don't have to say a lot. We don't have to do a lot, but we're next to each other. Like we're connected, you know,
Yeah.
Not in a weird way, not in a creepy way, but like you're here for me. Like you got my back, you know, like that kind of thing. Yeah, like the support system is very important. And even if it's online, I've had many people reach out to me as support systems, which is a really amazing thing. I mean, it's great. Yeah, so yeah, what you were saying about support is definitely something important that I'm glad you brought up, because people definitely need to know that.
Let me ask.
And regarding having a support system, not many, I would be honest. I mean, like I said, a few people reach out to me on Twitter, which I'm always grateful for, always. And Ashley, you know, so yeah, I have a little bit.
Let me ask you this question. Like, so you wrote a beautiful piece on depression, and that piece is widespread now. Like, I mean, in a number of communities. Before we get into the exact content of that, how long did it take for you to actually write that? Because I know that this sort of thing happens in steps. It comes with acceptance and understanding of what you have, and then actually putting that to paper and putting it out creates a certain vulnerability. So how difficult was that for you?
It only took a few days, believe it or not, but that's because I like to call myself a manic sporadic writer, and I like to call what I do like as Mean Girls word vomit. I get on the subject and I think about it, and it racks my brain till I become manic about it. And then I just word vomit all over my notepad in my phone. And I just write everything I'm thinking. And, like, you know, it comes and it goes. Some of it I'll read over. I'll be like, oh, this isn't going to make any sense to someone who's not in my head. Or I'll be like, wow, this makes perfect sense. Like, people are going to get this. They're going to want to quote this. Hey, they maybe even, like, write it somewhere for motivation. So, like, it took a few days, but I was very shocked at at how it was taken. I was shocked that people reached out to me. I was very shocked. When I started working with Nerd, I didn't think I had writing power. I knew I was a writer. I've always known I was a writer, but I didn't think I had that kind of force. And he was just like, just do it. Just I thought he was just like, get me some clicks, man, like you're Darth Ven. You write something, people are going to read it. Who gives a fuck? Like, just write about chickens. Who cares? But I came to realize that, like, he saw something that I didn't, I guess. He saw something in me about knowing about mental illness that I didn't see. So when I wrote it and he told me how many clicks it got, and that, like, the executive producer of the Ellen show had posted it and was talking about it and followed me and DM'd me and other people, other important people. I was taken aback. I actually cried. I was shocked. I didn't think I had that talent, And it was amazing. It was, for me personally, it was amazing. And the best part, like, not to sound cliche, was that people said that it helped them. It said that it explained their depression perfectly. It explained their anxiety, and it gave them some hope for the future. And, like, that's what that whole post was about. It was me trying to give some hope. And don't get me wrong, I'm no Mother Teresa. We've seen my old tweets. I've had my moments. But yeah, I was glad that people were able to feel something. I just want you to feel something, even if you don't like it, because there are people who are like, this is trash. So even if you don't like it or you love it, I want you to feel something about it, because that's what writing is about, making people feel.
And for the people that's not read it yet, tell them where they can go and find it.
They can definitely find it at nerdatthecooltable.com. It starts off open letter for the depressed, the anxious. They can find it there, or they can find it on my page, because I often retweet it or post it again, like sometimes if it's Mental Illness Awareness Day or Suicide Awareness Day, or even a Saturday, a regular Saturday, I'll post it, so, you can find it. You can find it.
So let's talk about depression for a little bit, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show was to bring light to this, because it's often misunderstood, and a lot of times you hear people thinking what it is or trying to diagnose what it, and it's really not that. So kind of tell us first we'll start off with what exactly depression is, and if you can, sort of kill some of the misconceptions of what people might think it is versus what it really is.
Okay. Well, first, I believe that, there's two types of ways to express what depression is. The scientific way, with the serotonin and things of that nature. Like when I went to the doctor and got checked and I got a blood test, my serotonin level was extremely low. It was much lower than the average. Because, you can judge mental illnesses now by your blood. You can judge, schizophrenia. If your serotonin's too high, possible schizophrenic, too low, depression. So, there's a scientific way. Right. Then another way is just how you feel. Maybe, a lot of eating to take away the pain. A lot of sleep. You're always tired, but you can never get sleep. A lot of sadness for no reason. Like you just feel sad for no reason. You feel very isolated from the world. You feel a lot of things inside that are dark and sad that you can't explain. That's how I see it. I can't speak for other people because, mental illness is a very touchy subject, and some people, the way they feel about it and how other people feel about it are so different that it could start a war. So, right. I just see it in that way. I see it as it's kind of like a dark demon monkey on your back that you really can't shake. It follows you around. It's very hard to, even when you're happy, it's still there. So it's something that's very deep and dark, and it's very soul crushing. It's very defeating. It makes everything that you want to do that you can't seem to do at the time, you feel defeated. At least for me, that's my experience of it.
Is there a way if I'm a friend, right, and my friend is going through depression, and like you said, you can be happy, but it's kind of like still deep down. From my perspective, is there a way, or is there something that I can look for that would kind of clue me in that, hey, this person, my friend, is going through depression? Is there anything that I could see?
That you can see? Well, some people are really good at hiding their depression because some people are very embarrassed about it. Some people are in denial about it. And some people just don't want you to know. They feel like it's none of your business. But some people show signs. It's very hard to me. It's very hard to hide depression. If there are signs that maybe your friend used to be very outgoing, and suddenly they don't want to go places and do things. Don't get me wrong, that could possibly be they just don't fuck with you anymore. They just don't like you anymore. I would hope not, but that could be one of those symptoms. It doesn't have to be depression, but if they were, more of a happy-go-lucky person, and you start to notice in the way they act is a little not off, because I don't like when people say off, because that kind of makes it seem as it I don't know, it just puts a little crazy like stamp on it, like, oh, you're a little nuts, like you're a little off. But you know, also sometimes appearance. If a friend has always been a good dress, somebody who's dressed very well and very put together, and you know, suddenly, like, you know, they don't really care for their appearance or how they look. And I mean, there's variables to that, because maybe they can't afford those nice clothes anymore or something like that. They're going through something. But I mean, you know, appearance, attitude is always a big one, you know. They don't want to leave the house anymore. Mm-hmm. And also one that no one ever really talks about is a huge attachment to social media. A lot of people with mental illness, their escape is social media. Excuse me, I had a cough. But yeah, that's their escape. You know, including myself. When I was diagnosed at about 10 or 11 with depression, ADD. I had problems at a very young age. They kind of looked at me and were just like, you know, your kid's nuts. But like, you know, I went to social media, and you know, I realized, oh, I don't have to go outside and make friends. I don't have to play games outside. I don't have to interact with people. I can just sit online and do those things and never see anyone, you know? And in a way, social media has kind of helped and hurt mental illness, because, you know, it brings us together. It gives us, you know, we can help each other, but it also makes it hard for us to cure ourselves from certain mental illnesses, say, you know, social anxiety. You know, if you're never going to go outside and you're going to sit online and, you know, build up thousands of followers like I did, because that's what I did to deal with my social anxiety, how will you ever deal with it as an adult, you know? You can't, you know, the internet has made it so you don't have to do anything out of your comfort zone. For a while, when I had anxiety, I was ordering groceries online. I was getting my laundry picked up and dropped off. A lot of things. The only thing I was doing was going to the beach, and I would go to private beaches where there weren't many people. I would go through nature walks where there were no people, just animals. So, you know, like, yeah, like, it's, you know, social media is it's definitely a good and a bad thing when it comes to that.
So if my friend is going through depression, what can I do to help he or she through it?
That one thing is to stay close as possible. I mean, there are some people who like to deal with things by themselves, but just let them know that you're there, that, you know, you may not want to talk to me right now. You may feel angry because, you know, you may be bipolar and you're going through a moment and you feel angry, but I'm here. Like, I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Or even little things like with anxiety. I have a huge problem with paying for stuff at cash registers. I don't like to do it. I don't like cashiers staring at me. I don't like them looking at what I'm buying. And I mean, people are listening to this and they're probably thinking, this sounds crazy. I mean, you know, she's probably just buying, like, you know, crackers and cheese. Like, how could she care who's watching what she buys? But it's a part of my anxiety. Like, so even little things like going to the cash register for your friend and buying their stuff. Or, like, you know, if they tell you, you know, I'm ready to go home. This is draining me. I'm an introvert. I have social anxiety. This is draining. You know, maybe, you know, calling it quits this one time and taking them home. Or, like, you know, just asking them, just listening. I mean, a lot of people say they're listening, but they don't hear.
Right.
And that's a big thing with depression. Like, you can't just listen. Like, you can't just sit on the bed with your friend and listen. You have to hear what they're saying, because listening and hearing can be the difference between, them, hearing and listening can be the difference between helping and, waking up one day and getting a phone call that your friend isn't even alive anymore.
Wow.
It gets that deep sometimes.
With depression, what's the difference between, again, and it's just coming from a friend perspective, what's the difference between helping them and enabling them? Or is there even a such thing as enabling when it comes to that? Because like you said, a person, they say, I'm not really feeling this, and you're like, how about just calling it quits that one time and leaving, which I think is sound advice. But is there a point where it becomes enabling? Because I think the inherent idea for most people is, I want to help you through this to help you get better about it. Or is it merely just something that it can only just be sustained?
Sometimes I would say that there is enabling. I believe if you know that your friend is cutting or self-harming or they're anything of that sort, that's when you need to get involved, whether they like it or not, and you need to speak with someone. That doesn't necessarily mean you bust into their room and you're like, you're cutting and I'm going to your parents, or you're cutting and I'm calling the police. But it's more of going somewhere to someone and, speaking to them. Or I think the best way is giving a little advice, like a hotline, like telling your friend, like, maybe call a hotline. Like, there's hotlines out there for you. But yeah, there is enabling. A lot of people enable their friends. I've had friends who have enabled me, and you can't blame it all on your friends, because at the end of the day, we're all our own people. And, whether your friends choose to help or not, it's still your life.
Yeah.
And it's still your control. So, you can't really blame it on them and the whole enabling.
Let's talk about you and some of how the things that you've done to help deal and to make yourself better. Where are you now today versus, let's say, where you may have been last year in terms of dealing with your mental illnesses, and how have you improved?
I'm still working with my depression and anxiety and things of that sort, and self-harm and stuff like that. However, my self-esteem has gone up a little bit. I kind of, threw it out the window, was like, fuck it, I'm fat. So I've begun posting photos, I'm sure you've seen them. I've made a thread, videos, photos, showing what I want to show, because one thing people need to realize is that Twitter isn't a judge and a jury. You don't get to demand evidence. You don't get to demand someone stand up and show you something,
Exactly.
So if a man or woman says, let me see your leg, let me see your stomach, let me see, anything on your body, that is not up to them, What you want to show and what you're comfortable with showing is your decision. And I think a lot of people feel entitled, which is weird, to feel entitled to someone's body through the internet, of all places. I mean, it's weird to feel entitled to someone's body in general, but through the internet is even crazier. I mean, that's a little Ted Bundy-ish, if you ask me. But
Exactly.
I mean, people will be people. So I've definitely stepped my game up when it comes to that. I guess I should be known. I am getting plastic surgery. On Monday, I start the whole process. It's something that I've wanted, and I'm not ashamed to talk about, because it's 2016. It's not taboo. I mean, listen, Black Twitter talks about the Kardashians all the time and their surgery. So, it's not taboo. But Yeah, and by the way, I love the Kardashians. I like them. I happen to like the Jenners too. But yeah, so it's not a taboo subject. I feel what would make me happy is being lighter, so I'm gonna do what it takes to get that done. You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same thing with anything. You know, you have straight hair, but you want your hair natural. You're going to do what it takes. You're going to do that. You're going to buy that Miss Jesse's and that Shea Moisture and that coconut oil. You're going to do what you need to get done to have that hair. And I'm not saying being put on an operating table and being cut open is the same thing as to putting coconut oil in your hair. But I'm trying to say that, you know, you can understand where I'm saying the similarity is you're going to do what you want to do in order to get what you want, you know, in order to what makes you feel like you.
Do you not feel that there has to be you already have to have some center of happiness in order to sustain when you go to do something else you think will make you happy? Because my idea behind it is let's say I go and do this let's say I go and have a surgery or something because I think it'll make me happy, and then I find that it didn't. Doesn't that kind of throw you back down into a downward spiral?
You know, that's a brilliant statement to make because that's something that I've often thought about. I feel like along with my issues, my weight has always been an issue that I felt added to it. And one thing that doctors will tell you is that a lot of when you have things like depression and, you know, anxiety and stuff like that, weight adds on to it because, you know, you feel it makes you feel a little disgusting. And, you know I'm all about body positivity. I'm all about if you want to be big, you want to be big. You want to be small, be small. You know, everyone, and there are some people who try to be shady and go, oh, it's about being healthy and they say, you know, big girls can't be healthy, which is a joke. It's a joke, but, yeah, I mean, like, I feel like a part of my unhappiness has always been my weight. So I feel like if I did get the surgery and I lost the weight, that maybe my 90% depression would maybe be a 75%, you know?
Right.
Maybe it would drop down a little further because I'd be able to look at myself in the mirror and see something that I like, you know, something that brings me a little more happiness.
Right. Exactly.
I don't ever want to say that weight, that my depression is my weight, because that would be taking away from what depression is, but it adds to it. It definitely adds to it.
I definitely support you in it. The perspective of, you know, you're going to do what you want to do to make you happy, and people basically do that all the time with other things. I think that's extremely profound, and you have my support in that. Let me ask you this: as part of your, you're welcome. As part of your depression and other mental illnesses that you've dealt with in the past, so the common thought is that, and we lightly touched on this earlier. The common thought was, at least back then, you were this super mean person. And while, you know, you certainly had your reasons, I'll tell you that I've not always found you to be. I've actually always thought you were pretty sweet, and that's just my perspective. Do you think?
Thank you so much. That really means a lot. That does. It really means a lot to me.
No problem. No problem at all. Do you think that because? Do you think your depression played a part in I guess, quote unquote, the level of meanness, or you sort of acting out in that fashion?
Oh, definitely. One thing a lot of people don't like to admit, one thing a lot of miserable people don't like to admit is that that it's true. Misery loves company, and my miserable ass loved company. I did. Like, I'd invite you over anytime. I can make you miserable like me. Come over. So, you know, it was more of a, I couldn't, here's the thing about depression is it's, you kind of see it as, okay, my favorite video game is Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
And you know, like the player Shang Tsung, right?
Yeah.
You know how he steals the energy? Yeah, you know he steals the energy. And let's say like I would be the opposite. Like I would want to take that energy and put it onto you. Like I was so miserable, and you can't fight depression physically. Like I can't wake up and like punch my depression in the face. Like I can't roundhouse kick it. I can't Steiner recliner my depression. So like instead of doing that, I would get online and I would just be like, oh, she seems like a nasty bitch, so I'm going to be a nasty bitch to her. And now that I feel terrible and she feels terrible, I'm not alone. We both feel terrible. And that's not thinking correctly. That's not thinking sane. That's kind of just, that's very psychotic. I was going through a very psychotic phase in which I thought that if I made everyone else as miserable as I was, I wouldn't be alone. And that's a part of it too. You want to feel like you belong, as in like, not saying that I wanted to belong with those people particularly, but I wanted people to feel what I felt. Like I wanted them to feel my anger and my disgust and my hatred, you know? And because I couldn't give that to my mental issues, I was giving it to other people. And a lot of times I would try to defend it by giving it to people I felt deserved it. Now, like I said, I always refer to the Bane thing because, you know, Bane does bad things, but sometimes it was for the good of his people, of the people he was defending, you know?
Exactly.
Like, especially if you've ever seen, you know, you understand.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe I would see a girl on the timeline and she would, like, maybe a girl would post a picture of herself in a dress. And a girl would be like, oh, girl, you know that does not fit you. You know, like drag her, like shade her. You know, I would jump in and be like, oh, well, your face doesn't fit you. Like, you're ugly. Like, your nose is disgusting. And that person would, you know, that would kind of raise that person, will lower that person's self-esteem. And, I mean, it's not okay. But in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm defending the other person who was attacked for no reason. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't make me any Superman for coming in and insulting someone else for insulting someone else, you know? That's just telephone tag of hurting people's feelings.
Right.
So it was kind of, in my head, I thought it was genius. But, you know, to the world, people are going to see what they spot out, you know? A lot of people wouldn't see the girl who made fun of the other girl's dress, but they would definitely see Darth Venn calling the other girl ugly, you know? So I never really got a break. I never got like that. I never got that break. It was kind of always like, oh, here comes Venny being mean again. Here comes Venny being a bitch again. And, you know, sometimes it was Venny being a bitch again. But sometimes it was Venny, like, defending other people. But, it goes to the old-fashioned saying, you know, kind of like, mind your business.
Right.
You know? Exactly. And I didn't want to mind my business. So, you know, I got what I got. But some of it I don't regret. Because I felt there are some people on Twitter that to this day still get away with things that they do that are nasty. But because of their fan base, you know, it keeps them alive. And don't get me wrong, my fan base has as well. And I hate to call them fans because, you know, it's the internet. We're just regular people. I mean, I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't act. I just tweet. But, you know, when you have followers that really ride with you, they kind of keep you alive in a social media way.
Right. So along
So
with that, along
yeah.
along with that, and those mean tweets, there came out a certain idea that you of how you felt about black men. There was
How I feel about black men.
yeah.
That is
So
a
let's talk about
subject.
that.
Yes. And as a black man, I know you're like waiting, like, oh, what is she gonna say? Don't hang up on me.
Listen, like, all right,
But
you and I, we're good. I already told you, I think you're sweet, and if
we have
there's
a good repertoire, so we
exactly,
don't have to worry about that.
if there's anything disparaging,
But
I know you're not talking about me, so.
yeah, of course, definitely not. I love you. I got love for you. So, one thing is I was very jaded as a child. I come from a mixed family. I mean, a lot of people know that because they always go, "Oh, Venny says she's mixed," and she posts her grandmother and her family, and they're all white, and she's pale, and blah blah blah. But everyone in my family dates black men.
All right.
I only have one aunt, and she dates a Polish man. Everyone in my family dates black. What do you say? So what?
No. I said all right.
Oh, you said all right.
Yeah.
I was like, huh?
No.
Let me finish the story before you accuse me. But when I was younger, I'll be honest, I didn't. When I was younger, I didn't find black men attractive. The first black man I ever found attractive was Kanye West. Believe it or not. And a lot of people will laugh at that because a lot of girls think Kanye West is hideous. But he was the first rapper to ever touch me and, touch my soul. And I just thought he was so attractive. And I was like, oh, Louis Vuitton Don this and Christian Dior this. And you're so beautiful. But like, I had seen my family and friends go through so many trials and tribulations with black men, and I had begun a resentment towards it. So I was just like, oh, all black men are liars, all black men are cheaters, all black men are this, all black men are that. But it was because I had a narrow view. I was ignorant. I hadn't seen my family date white men, so I didn't know what they would go through dating white men, you know?
Yeah.
If all I see is you go through struggles with black men, then I'm just going to assume when you date a black man you struggle. So that's what was in my head. I was ignorant. I wasn't informed. And now, don't get me wrong, there are some jokes on the timeline I make that some girls agree with because it's funny, you know?
Yeah.
Like the whole, like, letting him borrow your car. Like I remember one time I made a joke and I was like, treat your black man special. Let him borrow your car and then report it stolen. And like, there were some people who laughed and some people who didn't think it was funny. There's stuff like that, like there's there are some jokes that people are going to laugh and people are not going to laugh. Or like, there are some black men who take, I can respect that. As I've gotten older, I've learned that a lot of black men struggle. So a lot of jokes to them are insults because they've dealt with those things before, Yeah. Like they've dealt with the whole, like, people not giving them jobs because they think that they're liars or the color of their skin, or they've dealt with girls who won't give them a chance because they think all black men are cheaters, Mm-hmm. So, like, as I've gotten older, I've realized that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still going to joke around about black guys at the end of the day because black men are my family. I'm black. I mean, even if people feel I don't feel I'm black, I know I'm black. And black men are my family. Like, we're considered family, Mm-hmm. And it's like being at a barbecue. Like, that when I used to tweet some of my black men jokes, it was like being at a barbecue at a spades table. Like, I would just say a joke and we'd laugh, Yeah. And then there'd come some cranky black guy from out of nowhere who was usually from, like, HOTAP Twitter. I don't know if HOTAP is, like, a mean insult, but, like, from HOTAP Twitter that would be like, oh, we were kings and, this and that, and how dare you say that, how dare you say we play NBA 2K all day and we don't get jobs. But, those things are, things like that are just jokes, But a joke is only as funny as the person who is receiving the joke.
Yeah.
And I'm not Bill Murray, so it's not like I can stand on stage and go, "Fuck you." Whoever doesn't like the joke, fuck you. There's going to be consequences. People are going to send my mentions or harass me or put me as a racist or call me Uncle Ruckus or call me Don Lemon or something. There's always going to be consequences. But I just had back to what you said, I had a dated view of black men. I had never dated them. All through school, I always dated white men. I had never dated my first crush in like 4th, 5th grade was Al Gore. Literally. Okay. Al Gore. Right. That was my first crush.
All right.
That was my first school crush, Al Gore. I had posters. My mom caught me with a folder of Al Gore pictures, and she was like, you know what? Like, that's it. She threw it all away. She, lost her mind. My mom and dad have always believed that they want me to marry a strong black man, like a lawyer, a police officer, a doctor, as long as he's black. And I had just never been attracted to black men. As I've gotten older, of course I have. I mean, have you seen Trey Songz? As I've gotten older, I've been I shouldn't have asked you that as a straight man, but as I've gotten older,
I was about to say fuck Trey Songz.
As I've gotten old, I mean, he's not my favorite. I'm more of a Beckham kind of girl, OBJ kind of girl. Yeah. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of realized the effect that things can have on people, especially since I was bullied when I was younger. So, when I make black guy jokes, I try to keep it light. I try to do it when everyone else is doing it, so it's more of we're doing it together as a quote-unquote family, and it's not me starting something. Because, it used to be I make a joke, another girl makes a joke, another girl makes a joke, and then the whole timeline is bashing black men, Right. So now it's kind of like if I make a joke, it's a very lighthearted joke, and it's a joke where black guys who know who I am can be like, it's cool, it's all right. I mean, I've had people make jokes about me, the color of my skin, like, you're for a black girl, you're transparent, you need to tan. I remember I posted my legs one time, and Ashley, Fat Sacks, was like, they look like stale hot dogs. Like, I mean, that's funny. Like, to me, that's funny. Like, it's all about, like I said, it's all about a joke is only as funny as the person it's towards and how much they laugh. And the answer to the question in general for, my ranting is, I don't hate black men. I love black men. I don't want to see black men mercilessly killed. I don't want to see police officers do the things that they do to black men, because they are a part of me. And there will be people who will hear this and they'll think I'm speaking bullshit and I'm just going with the flow. But it's the truth, It's the truth. I had a lot of resentment because of what I had seen, and now that I've experienced more, I've learned more. That's my father, the black men in my family are strong black men, and when they saw my tweets before, and they were so disappointed in me that I was hurt, because I never want them to think that I don't think black men are strong or that they're worthy of being CEOs and executives and anything of that sort. I don't want people to ever think that I think black men just sit in Jordans on the couch and play NBA 2K all day. Like, that's not, we all know that's not true.
I definitely appreciate the perspective, the understanding where that comes from, and your true meaning and your intent behind it. The one thing I do hear loud and clear is that these jokes are still gonna fly though, so they might as well get used to it.
Not that these jokes are still gonna fly. I mean, they might Twitter a little, like they may, like turkeys don't fully fly. They kind of lift off the ground a little. They're not going to fly per se. Yeah. It'll just be here and there. I'll just make a lighthearted joke a lighthearted joke. But I will never do what I used to do.
Let's talk about the book you're writing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the book and the GoFundMe. Absolutely. And all that.
Yeah.
So, after the whole Ellen executive thing happened and the Nerd at the Cool Table thing happened, I started getting emails and letters, and I started writing poetry and posting it on Twitter and Instagram, and it was getting from 30 to 100 likes. I mean, sometimes 12, 19. I mean, it didn't matter to me, but retweets, sometimes 30, sometimes 100. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It was, whatever, as long as I could get it out. And, that's the thing about being an artist. You have to get it out, because if you don't get it out, it's trapped, and then you feel like you have all this greatness inside you with no one to give it, no one to share it with. And, artists heal people, and, I wanted to do that. And, so I wrote a lot of poems, and, I mean, they go from, a little cliche regarding subject, a lot of love loss, friendships, drug abuse, because I went through a lot of things with popping pills and a little bit of snorting and things of that nature. So it goes from your drug abuse to even resentment with my sister about issues, to my exes, to exes I couldn't let go, or I let go too soon. It goes through a lot of that. It's a lot of my pain, a lot of some of it is, I like to call part of it a self-help book, because some of it is about get out of what you're in, realize that you're free, realize that you've got something here, realize that boys, some of it is realize that boys aren't the end of the world, or realize that women aren't as important as you think they are at this age, or, realize that even though your siblings can be complete assholes, they're your siblings. There's a lot of things going on in the book, and I'm really happy that I wrote it, and because I had to get it out. It was like vomit, not to be nasty or grotesque, but it was like vomit stuck in my throat, choking me, that I had to get out. So I got it out the best way possible, and now I'm working on getting it, out there to people. So, another issue was I called up a company. We had a phone meeting, and they told me it would be between $1,500 and $1,800. And, I mean, you can imagine my reaction. It was kind of like, Bugs Bunny jaw drop, where you're like, what? $1,800? I mean, are you going to personally deliver it to people and read it to them? Are you going to bedtime story read these people my poems for $1,800? But I set up a GoFundMe at the time for that, and it kind of backfired a little. There were a lot of people who still hold a little resentment towards me, a little grudge, which is fair, because you never know what sticks to people. You never know what you say that will stick to people. You could call somebody fat in the 5th grade, and they could be 30 with 3 kids and see you in the street and be like, "Fuck you! You called me fat." Life is like that. That's how people are.
Right.
So, there were a lot of people who were like, "I'm not going to donate. I don't want to donate. Make the money yourself." And, I decided I didn't care. I wasn't going to give up. I've seen people make GoFundMes to get to Vegas, to get to All-Star Weekend, to get to buy watermelon. Shout out to Cherish, because I love her. The fact that she made a GoFundMe for watermelon and got $3,000, that's hilarious to me. That's funny. And I don't think she cheated anyone. I think she just kept it real. I want some damn watermelon. Give me watermelon. So, I mean, there was a white guy who made $10,000 asking for ingredients for potato salad. So, I felt like if people can ask for watermelon and potato salad and a weekend in Vegas where they're just going to spend money on cocktails and casinos and $3 buffets that'll give you food poisoning, why can't I ask for money for a book? that's actually that people can read and actually touch them and like, get to them and they can have it and hold it, like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I felt like, I'm going to put my pride aside. I'm going to humble it down and I'm going to ask. And, there are some people who are going to say no, some people who are going to say fuck no, and some people who are going to say, you know what, I'm going to give you the chance. And after I was discouraged and my friend talked to me, she found a book company willing to make my book and sell it for $600. So, I mean, going from $1,800 to $600 is major.
Exactly.
And like I said, the first 25 people who do donate will get a free book.
So let's change gears. Excuse me, a couple more things. I want to before we get out of here, I want to do some fun stuff with you. Let's have a little bit of fun with some stuff. We had our heavy moments, so let's lighten it up a little bit.
Sounds good.
So would you fancy yourself as a movie buff?
As a movie buff, would I fancy my?
Because I noticed you have an appreciation for a lot of old classics.
Oh, definitely. I'm all about the 80s. I'm all about the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beginning of the millennium.
Okay.
I'm all about that.
This is what we're
I'm all about a few foreign films as well, but yeah.
This is what we're going to do. I'm going to give a description of a movie, and I want you to give me the movie title and the year.
This is gonna be hard. I would rather you do like horror films or something, because horror is what I know. But okay, all right. I'll try.
I'm gonna start off with something easy. All you have to do is give me the movie title and the year. All right, you ready?
The year? Okay, the year we're probably gonna be lost on that, but go for it.
All right. So the first one. All right. So the first description. Tricked into thinking that he caused the death of his father, a prince flees and abandons his destiny as the future king.
A prince flees.
This is the easiest one I got on here. Well, actually, one of your favorite movies is on here. One of your favorite movies is on here. I said one of your favorite movies is on here, so that's probably going to be the easier one. Don't think too hard about this one.
It's my favorite movie?
One of them is. Not this one, I don't think.
I was about to say, this is my favorite movie?
You have 10 more seconds.
I mean, it's not The Lion King, right?
It is The Lion King.
Oh, it is?
All right.
Well, close enough, because I still thought it would possibly be The Lion King.
Okay. That's what I said. Don't think too hard on it. Like, just throw something out there. All right. This next one. A woman makes a bet that her stepbrother won't be able to bet a virgin who wants to wait until love. If he loses, the woman gets his Jaguar.
Oh, that is Cruel Intentions, and that was in 99.
Yep. Okay. All right. I don't know if you saw this one or not, but since you like 80s films, you'll probably like this one. You'll probably know this one. A girl who half-heartedly tries to be a part of the in crowd of her school meets a rebel who teaches her a more devious way to play social politics, killing the popular kids.
Girl movies like that, there's like 4 or 5 of those. So
that's what
you gotta at least give me a year in here somewhere. Like,
okay, all right. So I'll do it. I'm gonna read it one more time. I'm gonna give you a year. This movie came out
like
in
80s, 90s.
This movie came out in 88. A girl who half-heartedly tries to be a part of the in crowd of her school meets a rebel who teaches her a more devious way to play social politics.
Oh, Heathers. My favorite movie.
There you go. All right. Good job. This last one, 1996. A newcomer to a Catholic preps high school falls in with a trio of outcast teenage girls.
Oh, The Crash.
Do you have a favorite Disney song?
A favorite Disney song. A favorite Disney song. See, that's actually a good one. I have two, which are I have three actually,
Okay.
which are gonna shock you. Hawaiian roller coaster ride. Lilo and Stitch.
Okay.
You got a friend in me.
You got a friend in me.
Yeah, you got a friend in me. Yeah, exactly. See, you can't help but sing it.
I think, who did that?
My favorite is definitely every song from Beauty and the Beast. I'm obsessed with Beauty and the Beast. I think Belle is the best princess. So yeah, definitely every song from there. There's not one song I hate. But if I could add an extra, Poor Unfortunate Souls from The Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah.
If I could add that in.
Okay. What's the better? Which of these two? Which of these two is the better Disney song? And I debate people about this all the time, and I hate their response. Which is the better song? Under the Sea, or I Just Can't Wait to Be King?
Under the Sea. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Finally. Because it's like.
Usually people say the opposite. I like Under the Sea. I like the Jamaican vibe.
Right. It's a reggae song, right?
Yeah, it's like Sean Paul is a crab. I love it.
Do you remember the words to the song?
Huh?
Do you remember the words?
Yeah.
You want to sing it with me?
Oh, we gonna do it?
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. The seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake. You dream about going up there, but that is a big mistake. You're supposed to keep going. You're supposed to keep going.
I'm gonna do the hook because I forgot that part.
Okay. Okay. I'll finish it.
Okay.
Just look at the world around you, right here on the ocean floor. Such wonderful things around you. What more are you looking for?
Under the sea. Under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's weather. Take it from me. Up on the shore, they work all day. Out in the sun, they slave away. While we devoted, full time we floated under the sea.
Under the sea. That was amazing.
Okay.
We should have remixed it and been like, work, 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 work.
All right, okay. Let's do one more. Which is the better song?
Okay.
Bare Necessities or Hakuna Matata?
Oh, Hakuna Matata, without a doubt. I didn't like the Jungle Book really. I wasn't a huge fan.
Hakuna Matata is an iconic song, but Bare Necessities was the song for me.
You know what was very underrated to me? Hercules. I love the Hercules soundtrack.
Oh, that soundtrack was a soulful soundtrack. Like that, yes.
Go the distance. Like you could play Go the Distance, and I could do anything. Like I believe I Could Go the Distance is my version of I Believe I Can Fly. Like. I used to sit in my room and be like, I will reach my goal. I will go the distance. And my mom would be like, are you okay? Like,
that's funny. Oh man, this has been a blast. This has been everything that I hoped that it would be. Do you have?
Yes, we've had a good time.
Absolutely. Before we go, do you have any questions for me? I know I've asked all the questions to this point.
Yes, you have. Okay. A few questions for you. Now, I would like. Are you a movie buff? No. Are you a comic book? Are you good with comics?
Absolutely.
Huh?
Absolutely.
I want you. Can you name Can you name 3 of the smartest Marvel characters? Literally, like 3 of the most intelligent. That it's a fact. Like, as in, when they were written to be the smartest characters.
All right. Okay. Reed Richards.
Okay.
Let me think. 3 of the smartest.
Did you just say someone? Oh, okay,
No,
okay.
I didn't. Reed Richards. Actually, I'm trying to think. Was he written to be one of the smartest? Give me a second.
Okay.
Reed Richards. Okay. Reed Richards, Hank Pym,
Okay.
and see, I'm torn with
You
this.
haven't said the easiest.
Well, the one I'm torn with is because he's a villain.
Yeah, but you haven't said the easiest one yet.
Wait, it's not Tony Stark wasn't written to be one of the most intelligent ones. He's just rich.
You had it. Tony Stark.
Tony Stark. Well, okay, so
Yes.
here's the thing, right? So I know that Tony Stark is a brilliant mind. Tony Stark is a brilliant mind, but I didn't know that he was written to be one. I thought that's what it manifested into. I was going to say I was going to say Victor Von Doom.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yes.
Okay.
I would put Doom above Stark any day.
Right, exactly. So, that's where I was going. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Definitely.
Give me another one.
Yeah. Can you name me 4 female superheroes from DC?
Yeah, okay. You have, of course, you have Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
A whole 4? Hold on, wait. Let me think.
A whole 4. You see, this goes to show how much men know about female superheroes.
No. It's not even that, right? They just don't really put them out. So you got Wonder Woman. You have Hawk Girl. Oh shoot! Like I know a lot of women from Marvel. Oh, okay. Tell me if she counts as a superhero or a supervillain, because I'm always torn. Catwoman.
Okay, I'll count Catwoman because she plays both sides. But yeah,
I'm not going to say Supergirl because I think that's just too easy.
Mm-hmm. I hope you name my favorite.
Are we going straight superhero?
No, we won't even go straight superhero.
Okay.
I mean, if we don't go straight superhero, you're gonna say Harley Quinn, so that's a little that's kind of cheating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Black Canary.
A good one. That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. Birds of Prey, good one.
And Zatanna.
That's my favorite. Zatanna's my favorite.
There you go.
Yeah, that was awesome. See? Awesome. You know your stuff. You're good.
You pushed me for a little bit.
Good
You pushed
stuff.
me. If you'd have said Marvel, I'd have rattled them off.
A lot of people in there marvel.
Yeah. I mean, I fucks with DC, but yeah, Marvel really pushes theirs a lot. I don't really see a lot from DC. So this was fun. This was fun.
It was a lot of fun. I loved it.
See, you got to come back on the show and hang out with me some more.
Of course, no problem.
All right. So before we get you out of here, plug something that you're doing. Any website, anything, anybody. Shoot them a plug. What you got going on and where they can find you and stuff like that. Anything at all.
A plug. Well, of course, my book. I do need donations for my book. I have 150 now. I need 600. So if you could go check out my page, it's at the top. It's pinned. If you could, I mean, even if you can't donate, at least retweet it for me. Maybe somebody will see it and be gracious. Yeah, that's pretty much all that I can plug besides my Twitter handle, which is Darth Venn, if you've never heard of me or you've never followed me. And to all the people who have blocked me, you should unblock me. Let's be friends. Let's party. As you can see, we have fun here. We have a good time. So, yeah.
That's dope. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I've had so much fun, and it was really nice and therapeutic to be able to get my thoughts out. And I thank you. So much respect. And I now quote unquote work at Nerd at the Cool Table. I have my own column. It's called The Mental Hospital, where I'll be doing columns on mental health issues and relationships dealing with mental health issues. Anything you can think of dealing with mental health issues, I'll be talking about. It comes out today, actually. Okay. You'll see the first note today. So, yeah, that's all.
All right, cool. So by the time you guys hear this episode, go ahead on to nerdatthecooltable.com and check out our column. I'd like to thank our guests for coming on today. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, send an email to otap@writeme.com. Follow the conversation on Twitter by searching the hashtag OTAP, that's OTAP, or following us on Twitter at OTAP Show. You can find the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Android users can listen to the podcast on Podcast Republic. Just download the app and search OTAP Show. On behalf of our guest, I'm your host, Corey, and I'll see you back here next week on the Air Podcast, starring you.